Hello lovely people, welcome back to the box. Although, no, you will have seen the other ones first. If you don't know, I'm currently in London seeing shows. I have just come back from seeing my second one of the trip. First was the enormous crocodile. I have literally just got back from show number 2. The time is currently, my phone is over there, 22:39 in the evening. I do need my phone though. So we're going to introduce this show and its nervous guide, and then we'll actually be more, insert word here, in a minute. So if you want to know my nervous guide to the show Hadestown, stick around and we'll get into it in 2 whole seconds. Okay, we are back. So if you don't know what a nervous guide is, let's do that quick spiel and we'll get into it. So for every show that I see, I like to do 2 separate videos, time permitting. The last 2 videos I've done are both reviews, and I didn't do a nervous guide. I did explain in those shows why. But the nervous guide is this video. This is everything you need to know about the show before you go. I like it. It's become a catchphrase. It's quite snappy. So that is content warnings, sensory warnings, view from my seat, anything about the theatre itself, running times, that kind of thing. Then the second video we do is the review video, when I won't be wearing this outfit because I am going to go to bed after this. In the review, it's kind of things I enjoyed, people I enjoyed, all my thoughts and feelings. I usually put review in inverted commas, but like I said, it is it's past 10 o'clock and I should be in my pyjamas. But in all seriousness, we have the nervous guide and then we have the review. Right, let's get into it. Let's do the nervous guide for Hadestown. This was my first trip. I've never seen Hadestown before. I will get more into that, should I say, in the next video. But yeah, I didn't know what I was going in for. I was very lucky with a rush ticket, because this was the show I was like, I don't know if I'm going to do a 5th show. Might just have to stick to 4 because I'm down for 3 days. I already have 2 set in for tomorrow, 1 for the day after, which is Thursday, and I did the enormous crocodile. So I just tried my luck. I was like, right, I've got 2 shows that I'm going to try rushing for. We'll see what happens. And I gave Todaytix and Rush for Hadestown 10 whole minutes of clicking and clicking and clicking on the see the tickets, buy the ticket, let me have a ticket, do it. And I thought after 9 minutes, that's my lot, I'm not going to do it. And then I clicked it one more time just before it went to 10 past 10 and it was like, you've won, here is your ticket, do you want to buy it? And I was like, yes. So yeah, I got my ticket on Rush and I was sat in Q23 in the stalls. I will always, as always should I say, leave a picture of the view from my seat here. I think I took a picture. I'm struggling right now, but I'm pretty sure I took a picture and I'll leave it here. It was a pretty decent view. The only thing that I couldn't see was the band on the one side, and I was kind of aware there was someone over there, but it wasn't until Act 2 starts and the character of Persephone is introducing every member of the band that I was aware that there was a cello, a violin or a viola and a trombone on the left hand side of the stage, because I couldn't actually see them. But I missed none of the action, as you will, and like I said, it was a rush ticket, so it's not like I could have changed my mind, because if I had at that point of the day, I think that would have been a goner. So I took it happily, paid my £30. Yeah, no qualms with that. So that is my seat view. As I have recently begun to do with this, let's talk about the running time of the show and such. I'm just getting Todaytix up, don't mind me. So Todaytix has this down as a 2.5 hour show. It also gives a recommendation of 8+, in case you are interested. It does have an interval. It's not 2.5 hours straight through. Don't think my knees could have took that. I needed the break halfway through. But yes, that is things you need to know. They also put under more info on Todaytix. This production contains strobe-like effects throughout. I wouldn't necessarily call them strobe. There was bright lights. Let's get into the sensory stuff. So, as we always know, and I always try and reiterate, for me personally, my sensory, I don't want to call them triggers, but the things that affect me the most are loud noises, gunshots, visible guns, occasionally and more frequently bright lights, especially in the evening. That's why I've got my glasses on. That's basically my big four, if you will. The lights at times were bright. In this song Wait For Me in Act 1, should really have my book open. Yes, Wait For Me in Act 1 is, it begins quite, not dull, but like low level lights. Then as the song builds, the amount of light involved in it builds. There are swinging lights. There are also lights in the audience, and they do move around, kind of like searchlights. I don't know if that's what they were going for, but it's the best way of explaining it. So they move, not really stopping on anyone, but it might just catch you a little bit. There are other moments where the lights are particularly bright. I don't want to get which song it is wrong. I don't want to get it wrong, but in Act 2, during one of Hades' songs. Now, Hades' main song in Act 2 is down as His Kiss the Riot. I don't know if it's that one. Just beware. One song in Act 2, there is Hades front and centre. The lights build and build and build. Also during the show, going back to Act 1, I'm all over the place. In Act 1, towards the end, when action pretty much descends down underground to Hadestown. Wait, no. Sorry, it came out. When you descend into Hadestown, the set that you've been looking at for about 50 odd minutes by that point suddenly starts to separate, and there is more lighting behind. They are the lights you need to be aware of in Act 2 that get brighter and brighter and brighter, to the point the person in front of me had to do that because it was so strong. It is only on briefly, and it does build slowly from like dull backlights to bright in your face lights, and then they cut out. But it is something to be aware of if something like that would trigger you. The other things I have got in my notes, I put the use of theatrical fog. I, like I said, was sat in queue, so the fog didn't descend too far back in that it hit me. If you are towards the front of the stalls, you might descend into the fog with the cast. It's not like heavy fog, but it does come from the sides and it protrudes out into the first couple of rows, but you don't miss anything on the stage during those times of fog. It's just there. It's theatrical fog. We all love it. I do also want to mention, I don't know if it's a me thing, but the way that the music and the instruments and the voices bounce off the stage, it can get quite loud. Not like mega loud, not like ow my ears are hurting and ringing loud, but it is like all encompassing, I have to say. So it is something to be aware of. Like I said, it's not massively loud, but it's not quite a show. No. Other things I have got down here, I've already talked about the lights in the audience during Wait For Me, and I also have down here the blackout to end Act 1. I thought, because I didn't look at the running song list, if you will, I thought going in that Wait For Me was the end of the act. I was like, poof, I was like, okay, we're done. No. There is one more song after that song. And at the end of that one, Persephone steps towards the beginning of or to the front, should I say, of the stage, and says something along the lines of, anybody fancy a drink? Boom, the lights go off for the end of Act 1. And that's how Act 1 finishes. Act 2, apart from me at one point forgetting to breathe because it got so suspenseful at times, apart from the aforementioned fog and the aforementioned lights, there wasn't many things that were too much to not have already discussed, apart from the fact that I may have sobbed towards the end. That was, it's not a trigger. It's not a sensory thing. I'm just an emotional person. In regards to content, there is obviously themes of death and violence. There is no physical violence on... there is. That was almost a lie. There is one moment of physical violence. I don't know why I put that in air quotes. There is one moment of physical violence in which Orpheus first comes into the underworld. He is greeted by the workers and Hades basically tells the workers to get rid of him. There's that kind of motion, and there is a bit of a kerfuffle on the stage. But obviously, it all being about going to the underworld, there is themes of death and dying, and like some references that aren't quite references, but it's more a reference to death on the underworld than anything else. Like, there's no one being slaughtered, if that makes sense. I know what I want to say, but like I said, it is nearly 11 o'clock at night. But I think I've done it. We've talked seat, we've talked sensory, we've talked content warnings. Merch. Now, I will again, if I remember, leave a video of what was on the merch table. I am trying to be really good on this trip because, like I have said, I am seeing 5 shows in 3 days, and that plus accommodation and food means that I need to be frugal. So I've literally picked up the programme for this show. This was £5, which is a pretty decent price, and because it is a NIMAX theatre, it has the name of the show and the theatre on the side, and it just makes it just fills me with joy. I wish that more theatres or theatre groups would do that, because I can easily see what this programme's for without like flipping to the front. That's just a personal preference thing, I know. Anyway, yeah, there were other things available on the merch, but I was good this time. Hopefully I did not miss a badge, otherwise I might cry. Because if you don't know, badges, basically pin badges, are my thing. They're my jam. I collect them. I didn't look. Oh, I'm gutted. Anyway, like I said, it is now nearly 11 o'clock at night, so I'm going to bid you farewell, say thank you very much for watching, and tuck myself up into bed ready for tomorrow's day of shows. But all that is left to say is the usual. That is, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you come back next time. And finally, so long, farewell, auf Wiedersehen, and goodbye.